Hello YouTube, I hope that you are well today. I am doing okay. It's been a very long day for many reasons. Won't go into it. Anyway, I'm going to construct a video that will be recorded and posted with no proof listening, no edits at all, period. Zilch. Even when I don't script out something, I normally at least listen to it once before I put it out there, and if it is trash, I just discard it. However, that's not what I'm going to do this time around. Now, the first time that I attempted this, I must admit I wasn't very happy with the results. Maybe it was just because I wasn't really pleased with myself on that particular day. And maybe that will happen again. Anyway, we will go ahead and we will try once more to see if this is a reality that we can actualize. Something in a successful vein, let's say. Today I was bombarded with what I call medical conformists. That means to me, an individual that thinks the medical world can do no wrong and that corruption is overly stated. Yeah, those types of individuals. They dare not say, but they think loudly that the common man is incapable of putting two and two together. If you do not have a degree in their field, oh, heaven forbid. Well, you will be ill-informed at best. Yep, that's those arrogant buggers, the whole lot of them. Ugh. Anyway, I am making this video as I attempt to do other things, so not only will I be trying something new, I will be multitasking at the same time. Oh my God. Whew, let's see if I can do this. Moving on. Thank you. You know, I'm so relaxed knowing that I'm just having a conversation among mostly friends. So, yeah, we can do this. Now, today, I'm a little silly, admittedly so. You know, many of you probably think I'm just super serious individual when you listen to or, you know, join me in some of my videos. But really, I'm not. I have my moments where I am extremely silly. So, with that in mind, let's imagine that I constructed a gathering of qualified individuals, and they're all my colleagues. And we had formal talks, and we were going to put together our own DSM. Yeah, and I rationalized and convinced my colleagues that we should add a psychological disorder that I will probably call either hegemony composite or political complex. Yeah, one of those two. So, as we are discussing this, they ask, well, how will it be defined? Certainly we must have a definition. And I say something to the extent of, okay, maybe we can look at it this way. We can define it as having marked impairments in the use of multiple communicative behaviors such as savage exaggeration, rapid qualitative movement of previously stated personal beliefs to the excess of repeated reversals or exploitations to the point of diminishing returns with phrases such as read my lips. Yeah. Ugh. Anyway, significant use of deletion, distraction, and spin, or the insistence of using oxymorons or nonsensical trope like military intelligence or compassionate conservative. Yeah. Anyway, the ability to compromise one's beliefs, values, or standards. And of course, that individual would require excessive amounts of glorification and frequent needs to be the center of the universe. And you know, sometimes, honestly, with the prodding of Big Pharma, I think that some of these conversations, though more academically constructed and more refined and with order, is pretty much conducted in similar fashion. So that doesn't make me feel all that warm inside. Yeah. I am sure some of you have come to realize that caffeine, yes, caffeine withdrawal, is now listed as a psychological disorder. We all know there are no biological markers for mental illness. There is also no physiological test used to identify the so-called disorders in the DSM. Do I think that mental illness is a figment of our collective imagination? No, actually I do not. Indeed, it is real. However, interest quickly chased by exaggerated excessive excitement in psychiatric diagnosis seems to come and go. This questionable hoopla has been with us as long as there has been psychiatry. The fads, coupled with a deeply felt need to label, rarely truly explain, however. Label, going back to that now, leads us to a non-superficial means of engaging suffering that some proudly tout they comprehend because they have labeled it and because they have identified the supposed deviance that was in question. If this was not enough, we have what is called false epidemics. If you are even a casual reader of various psychiatric or medical publications, yes, I am. I know, I'm a nerd. Or if you pay attention to trends in advertising, yes, I know, I'm a nerd. You will find a heaping of alluded to pathologies that seem to grow or to greet the ever-increasing proportion of the population. Now, back in 2009 or early 2010, I can't remember which. Anyway, I was made aware of 3 such epidemics. 1, childhood bipolar disorder. 2, autism. 3, attention deficit disorder. With the craze over DSM5 and outrageous ways some of these medical personnel approach this, I am sure we will witness an irritation within the public, probably agitated by the professionals and big pharma and your local advertisement agency. Anyway, I intuit that there will be a great deal of hype regarding certain mainstays like anxiety, depression, hypersexuality, or binge eating. Yeah. Getting back to the caffeine withdrawal. If you are being honest regarding the levels of corruption within our medical institutions, and if you do some research, won't require much, I am sure you will come to this conclusion, and that is some doctors are nothing more than dispensaries for pharmaceutical companies. Some have been conditioned not to speak with their clients at length. Some have abandoned proper diagnostics. It does appear a growing number of them are fairly incompetent, working in cahoots with another source regarding an undisclosed agenda. Yeah, save your conspiracy theorist claims, okay? I'm not in the mood for them. Or, as one of my subscribers stated, and I am paraphrasing here, I don't have his information in front of me, and I think he said something along these lines. The source of difficulty is that practitioners exist within a profit-driven system, which invites corruption. This challenge, as he was talking about, is compounded by the fact that the mainstream is desperately uneducated about mental illness. Now, I think part of this is correct. However, I do not think the mainstream is solely uneducated due to disinterest, nor do I think we should be so relaxed that we allow this to stand as a neat and tidy means of not placing at least partial blame, which is well deserved, on the practitioner. If they did not have seeds of corruption within them, or even, I acknowledge that some have been harassed by various groups, and I can understand that this would occur, especially with certain people, depending upon their influence within the field. Anyway, this lack of integrity would occur at lower rates if they didn't have these seeds of corruption within them. Speaking of the ones that were not harassed, of course. Now, for all of you who are focused on improving the lives of your fellow man via medicine and psychiatry, if you're listening, I hope you will not allow your emotions to cloud your judgment. We have to call it as it is, okay? And that's all that I'm trying to do. And if my ideas are incorrect, I am open to studying more and correcting myself. Not a problem. But you have to admit, simple things could make a big difference. How about not generating situations that emphasize what has manifested into overdiagnosis? Do tell me, mental professionals, what you think. I appreciate you tolerating this unprofessional examination of your field. Please tell me, why is normality appearing to be an endangered species? Do not even think I will entertain any bullshit because you have a degree regarding changes in human physiology and human natural changes. This is a slow process, if at all, and I know this. Also, this surge in psychological disorders can't be squarely placed on our demanding, stressful society. I am willing to state, since I was a child, we as a collective are far more pampered, generally speaking, that we are better insulated from inevitable challenges. Nor am I willing to neatly package this as an environmental phenomena, where we have an environmental candidate that puts to bed the concern over the growth of mental disorders or psychological disorders. Yet, the DSM seems to be forever growing. For those who do not know what I am speaking about when referring to the DSM, it is the Bible for the American Psychiatric Association. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual is used to classify psychological disorders according to symptoms, not biological markers. Funny thing, I never hear psychiatrists even entertain the idea of our food being bombarded with a variety of toxins and their contributions to altering psychological processes. Since aspartame introduction as a legitimate sweetener, we have seen it alter the balance of certain neurotransmitters. This has been written about extensively. Ones that doctors like Ralph Walton, MD, believed are involved in mood disorders. Though I am sure others will disagree with him, you can't ignore him and others who have went on record stating it was their professional opinion it could alter the seizure threshold. Yeah, think on that one. If we alter our diet, if we look at the neurotoxins in our diet, maybe some of these things that are listed as psychological disorders won't be such an issue. Maybe such things like bipolar symptoms will be able to be approached from a different standpoint. Maybe we can add to all of the information psychiatrists already have by looking at the nutritional side of things. Just saying. Anyway, I called an old associate at the National Institute of Mental Health several years ago. He provided some paperwork that was revealing. Now, if things have changed significantly in a better direction, do bring forth your information. I want to hear it. I want to read it. I do not want to give disinformation to any of you. The estimate is that in any given year, roughly 25% of the population, which is approximately 60 to 65 million people, has a diagnosable psychological disorder. Let's think about that, and let's have a little fun while doing it. Let's say by the age of 35, 50% of the general population had qualified for an anxiety disorder, while 40% for depression and 30% for drug dependence. Okay, what do you think the ratio between two measurements with different units? I am speaking of a rate connected to a picture that is yielded by a per unit time, not a ratio that has a non-time denominator. So, what would be the ratio by the time these people hit 65? I have not done the math, obviously. I just thought of it, but I am willing to imply that few will get through their existence without some sort of mental disorder. Damn, dog, I wish you would just be quiet. Be quiet. Anyway, this said, we have to consider we reside in a world that Mr. Huxley saw clearly, a world where psychological manipulation is a reality via the roads of psychiatric overdiagnosis. I am not buying the hype, people. I do not know about you. I hope you're not buying the hype either. Call it a bias if you must, okay? I don't care. I am simply convinced, based on my years of reading about antidepressants, etc., that my current position is solid. The likes of Paxil, Prozac, Zoloft, heck, probably all of them, are toxic and injurious. I did not say that some have not benefited from its use, so keep the straw manning to yourselves. The limited favorable results does not combat highs and lows, crashes, attempts to commit suicide, exasperated depression, sleeplessness, nightmares, erratic behavior, violence. How about dramatic personality changes? Though a general fact, and not profound in any way, it is still relevant that drugs interfere in unpredictable ways with various neurotransmitter systems. We are willing to risk way too much. I don't even want to address blood sugar levels and electrolyte levels and the profound effect that can have on the body, and what one may think is a symptom of a psychological disorder. This behavioral management is out of control. Yet with the increase of psychological disorders within the DSM, do we not see a rise in the altering of body chemistry, an altering which is unnecessary for my fellow human beings, on average, that is. Anyway, I am finished with my project now. What do you think?